Hi everyone, today's quick fix is all about painting a simple landscape and getting started with painting them because I think they can be quite intimidating, but I know so many of you enjoyed my cow parsley meadow landscape the other day, so I thought let's get on with some more landscape painting. So we are using a few different brushes today to make our lives easier. I've got a big flathead one wash brush here, which is a Pro Art Connoisseur 1 inch, and then I've also got one of these sort of larger Pro Art Connoisseur pointed round brushes, but it's more like a mop brush really. So I've got my brushes nice and wet. The other thing you'll notice is I have masked down the paper with some washi tape. This is one way of fixing your paper in place and minimising the amount of warping when you add lots of water to the paper. So it's good to get yourself some washi tape rather than masking tape, because masking tape can be a bit too strong with its adhesive. So I'm going to begin by wetting the page. So I am just lightly wetting it with the one wash flathead brush, and if you are sort of wondering about how much water to use or how to sort of apply it, I do have a quick fix all about adding water to your paper for good washes. But ultimately we don't want any puddling of water, we don't want any pools of water, but I'll put that to one side now. That's nicely wet, and I am going to begin by adding a bit of atmospheric sky. So I've got some French ultramarine here. I've also got some Mars black, just to knock it back a fraction. And all I'm going to do with my large mop brush is do 3 strokes like that. And then I'm going to just take off some of the colour, and I'm going to place in just a line, maybe 1 or 2 like that. And this feels very sort of simple, a bit like how you might paint a line of sky across the top of your page when you're at preschool, but it can also be a really effective way of painting a very simple landscape. And this is the quick fix, so we're doing this in record time. Now I've got some sap green mixed in with some Mars black, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that little stroke that I painted in there as a bit of a guide, and I am going to dab my brush. I've got a size 6 brush here, and what I'm doing now is I'm creating a bit of a horizon line, and these are going to be loose watercolour trees, but not only that, they are going to be creating a sense of a reflective lake. So don't spend too much time on this, but what I am doing, just to frame it, is I'm making slightly larger ones at the side as if they were a little bit closer, and then maybe just some off the side like that. And that line there essentially is creating a horizon because we've got a bit of a reflection of the trees in the water. Now we do need to let this dry 100%, so we're just cut to having it bone dry to the touch so we can add some detail on top. Just allowing that to dry, not touching it, not tilting it, not doing anything. The paint has done an amazing job of blending in and even sort of dragging down, which is really interesting, and has created a beautiful, softened, distant horizon. Now I've mixed up some quite sort of concentrated shadow mix here with burnt sienna, some French ultramarine blue, and just a little bit of Mars black in for good measure. And what I'm going to do now is contrast the really, really soft washes on the background with something much crisper to create a sense of the perspective that we've got something in the foreground. So I've got a size 4 brush, my page is nice and dry, and I am going to paint in a little bit of a riverbank, but I'm doing this really, really simply. I don't want to sort of overcomplicate things. So what I love is that little bit of dry brushing creates a sort of some kind of bit of sort of light and texture on the page, which is rather nice. And then we'll have one just coming in from there. And now I'm going to paint a tree, a simple tree, just in silhouette with my size, what have we got? We've got a size 0 for the trunk, so I'm just going to begin by painting a line that sort of goes up but is a little bit wobbly using a low angled brush, and I'm going to start painting a few of the sort of thicker branches off the edge of this tree. And now I'll use my even smaller brush and I'm going to paint in some even more slender branches. Now this is your introduction of getting started in landscape painting. So our tree is going to be a bare tree because that is a much simpler prospect to paint. However, if you are interested in doing some more painting like this, I have so many landscape and tree painting tutorials on my Patreon, which you can find all the details for below in the episode notes. Patreon is another online learning tool. It's a subscription-based service where you get a much more in-depth and tailored and interactive learning experience with me. And it's just perfect for anyone who's been really enjoying the YouTube tutorials but would love a bit more, basically. And you also get to pick content for the YouTube channel itself, which is very, very cool. So, of course, this would not work at all if I hadn't allowed my wash behind to dry 100%. But the good news with that is it didn't actually take that long, because the amount of water I put on in that initial wash was quite a sort of a light amount. Okay, so that's a nice way of creating a bit of perspective. But then the other lovely way is to just add something from a composition point of view onto this sort of empty space here. And I am just going to use my tiniest brush and this dark shadow concentrated mix to paint in a few birds. So I'm just going to use the tip of the brush and just by painting a few of these sort of slightly angular shapes, we give ourselves a little flock of birds. And that is your watercolour quick fix today. The only thing left to do, which is very satisfying, is to peel away our masking tape, which leaves you with a beautiful crisp edge on your painting.